When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us today in the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. I have a good friend of mine, John Pugh from Orange County, California, on today. How you doing, John?
Doing awesome, man. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Excited to hear more about your story and give some golden nuggets to our viewers today. But you guys are in for a treat. John really loves to give back to the real estate industry. He's been recognized as one of EXP's University Instructors of the Year. He's earned the Success 125 award in recent years, Success Magazine. He runs a top real estate team in Orange County, California. He coaches real estate agents for free online and builds communities with thousands through his daily videos on TikTok. So definitely check him out on TikTok. He's a co-founder of 4 Aces Nations, a group of over 650 agents in eXp Realty, and is recognized as one of the top leading team growth and agent coaches in the world. So welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast, John.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Just a couple of hats that I wear, including this one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, let's just start by kind of sharing a little bit of your journey, your real estate background, and your journey of how you got here.
You want to bore the people right away? No, I'm just teasing. I got into real estate as a little kid. So I've been in the business since I was about 7 years old. I used to, the high quality marketing we used to do was we'd go to Costco and print, photographs of the outside of the house that were taken, and we'd get like 100 printed, and then we'd take a glue stick and we'd glue them on the front of the flyer. But those were only the flyers you gave away in person at the open house. The ones you went door to door with, those were just black and white Xerox copies. So yeah. I've been doing real estate since it was out in books and whatnot, and got into it with my parents when the MLS came on computers. Worked with them for a little while. They didn't have enough business to keep me busy. So I ended up, my mom put flyers in all the mailboxes at her office, and one of the guys whose business was starting to take off hit her up and said, I could use somebody to kind of babysit my assistant while I go to Europe. Started working with him, and we ended up working together for 7 years, selling ultra luxury high-end properties. We sold $5 to $50 million estates here in Orange County, California. Sold numerous record sales at the time, including Nicolas Cage's house for $35 million. And after 7 years of fun doing that, I decided I wanted to work with people who actually needed my help and appreciated what I did. And so I transitioned onto my own. I left that business behind, kind of let him keep all of those clients and relationships, and went out and started fresh at Coldwell Banker, where my stepdad was regional vice president. Built my business there for a while until I got a call from Keller Williams, and they said, hey, we got some great tools and resources, and let us share those with you. And I loved everything that they had to say and offer. And about a year later, a different team leader reached out to me, and that is my now business partner, Meyer. We joined EXP together years later, but we ended up running some KWs. I became a team leader for a couple of years. I was a productivity coach. We launched an office. And then we looked around the room and we said, a lot of the smartest people we know in this industry are going over to this little tiny company called EXP. What's that all about? And I looked at it for 4 years in different capacities and different interest levels until I was a very slow recruit. I'm very, very slow learner. And after looking at it for an extended period of time, I basically dragged Meyer over here. We looked at every brokerage on the planet. We looked at, we had high level meetings with the president of Coldwell Banker and the CEO and founder of Douglas Elliman and all kinds of different companies looking to do a very large scale project. And at the end of the day, nothing could touch the financial compensation model or the opportunities at EXP. And so while Meyer had no interest in joining a virtual brokerage, I dragged him over here and said, this is the path. And here we are 3.5 years later with a group of just under 700 agents, lives we've been able to impact, tremendous value that we've gotten out of the company. And it's really fun to work at an organization where they appreciate and support you. I feel more appreciated and supported at this company than I ever have at any of the other places I've worked in my career. And that's why I love to give back to the industry so much, because I'm just at a place where I can. And that's how you and I have become connected and collaborated and gotten to know each other, and how I ended up here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's pretty awesome story. So you've been at several different companies and franchises in the past, and it sounds like, were you happy? So before EXP, you were with KW or Coldwell Banker?
I was with KW for 7 years, and I was extremely happy. It's a phenomenal company. They have great systems. I just tell people, like, KW is kind of, it feels a little like high school, and EXP is a little more like college. Like, it's just an evolution of the industry. And you know what? We'd all be sitting at a Coldwell Banker or, one of those original brick and mortars if, Dave Liniger with Remax and Gary Keller with KW didn't come on and innovate the model, right? They changed the positioning for the real estate agent. Right. And I'm very grateful that they did. And then Glenn Sanford came along and he brought another generation and another twist on it. And I really prefer this one.
So you said you looked at it for 4 years in different capacities. Were you just not looking seriously at it at that time? You were just busy, or
I was looking seriously at it.
Okay.
First time that I looked at it was my friend Mary Baggett had joined out of Florida, and nobody had heard of EXP. EXP was like, 3 random letters in the alphabet. And she tells me, she's very well connected. I'm big in the agent to agent referral sphere, right? Like, I do a lot of agent to agent referrals, do a lot of conventions, and build a lot of relationships within KW or Coldwell Banker or across all brokerages.
Right.
And she was very well connected as well. And so she called me and said, "Hey, I'm leaving." And I was like, "What are you doing? You're crazy. Like, you're completely lost your mind." And she said, based on my positioning within my region, I really feel like I'll never find like my own identity here. I feel like I'm standing in the shadows, and I want to take this opportunity and do it. And I said, "Well, good luck, Mary. That's not going to work out. That company is not going anywhere. Good luck." That didn't, it went by. The next time I looked at it, EXP probably had 4,000 or 5,000 agents. And I said, "You know what? This is really interesting. I think this company has something special." But at that time, I was already pretty deep into my leadership journey, and it's hard to walk away from a good thing. And so I had something that was, really good for me. And I was like, yeah, I think they're doing pretty well. They're definitely a competitor. I definitely don't think anyone should call them Donkey Kong. I thought that was a big mistake. That didn't help me at all in my position. And yet, the timing wasn't right. And over time, I continue to be more and more curious, and I continue to try and find this has to be too good to be true. So I was constantly looking for the thing that was like, this is too good to be true. This isn't legit. This isn't going to work. And I was playing golf with Dan Beer one day. And this was really kind of the catalytic moment where I was like, okay, I get it. And we're playing golf, and he's showing me his rev share. And, I was a corporate recruiter. I was a team leader. I was a trained recruiter. By the way, I hated recruiting. I was the number one net recruiter team leader in 2017 or 18. I did not like it. I'm a relationship guy. I am not a numbers guy. I did not like the, sort of to your head, recruit 10 agents a month or else type mentality. But I liked everything else. And so I'm playing with Dan, and he's showing me this rev share thing on his phone. And he's like, "Yeah, look how cool this is. Look at all this money." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And we hit the balls and we finished the hole. And at the end, he's like, "Oh, look, while we were playing that hole, I just sold a house in Ohio." I'm like, "No, you didn't." He's like, "Yes, I did." I'm like, "You don't sell houses in Ohio. You sell houses in San Diego."
Right.
I'm like, "You're talking about that rev share crap." And he's like, "Well, let me ask you a question. If an agent on my team sells a house in San Diego, do I get paid?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do I have liability?" "Yeah." "If an agent in my rev share organization sells a house in Ohio, do I get paid?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Do I have liability?" And I said, "No." And because I was so intimately involved in the brokerage operations and I understand the liability perspective and all these other things, I was like, wow. I've been obsessed with scale and expansion, right? The expansion model of KW, and this idea to be able to provide value to agents all over the world, regardless of where they hang their shingle or happen to live or whatever. And it finally clicked for me. And I was like, you know what? That's it. EXP's model is the only version, and I say this today, I believe this. EXP's revenue share is the only real 7th level team in the entire world. I do not believe there's another way to effectively run a 7th level real estate team without the benefit of revenue share the way EXP does it. There are a couple competitors who also offer revenue share. I personally don't have the confidence that I have in EXP with those companies because it is a very complicated algorithm. It's a very complicated thing to work through. And they spend a tremendous amount of money, time, energy, allocation of people, making sure they get it right. And so the only company I trust to be able to run a revenue share organization at this scale is EXP. And that's why I work here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at, your journey. It sounds like you've been really taking a good deep look at it, but was it that conversation with Dan that really put you over the edge, or what were the top 2 or 3 things that made a big difference for you to actually make the move? Because you were happy where you were.
Yeah, I was happy where I was. It was that it all comes down to what is the fastest vehicle. So I am very, very involved in the giving space. We talked a little bit about that. So I've had a goal for a while to raise and donate $1 million to causes and charities that I'm passionate about. And I knew that in order to hit that number, I would need a faster vehicle. I would need a better network. There were all these things I needed. And I just felt like I couldn't find those in the environment that I was in. And so when I looked at the opportunity at EXP, I thought, you know what, this is going to get me around the right people. This is going to get me on the right stages. This is going to get me the right money coming into my account on a monthly basis to position me to do good in the world. And that really was the reason that I joined. I was in sort of a friendly competition with a friend of mine from KW who was really kicking my booty when it came to like global impact and doing a lot of things that were very, very high level. And I just didn't feel like I was going to ever be able to be on that level. And I wanted to be on that level.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to compete for something, compete for like the good you're going to do in the world.
Yeah.
And so when I looked at all of this, I thought, you know what? I think these pieces could be together. What's really cool about that is I think it was roughly 12 months, maybe 18 months after I joined, I got to lead off an event that the Fast Forward movement hosted in San Diego. And I got to talk about building a mission-driven business. And by the time I was off the stage, I had about 15, 20 minutes. By the time I was off the stage, we'd raised over $70,000. And by the time the 2-day event was done, we had raised $235,000 for Feeding America, which is the company or the nonprofit that supports food banks around the world. Tony Robbins is very involved and all kinds of people. We were the #1 worldwide donor. And we had raised all this money to provide 2.3 million meals to hungry families. And that moment right there was where I knew like, okay, like all the dots have connected. Like this is really why I came, and this is really impactful.
I love your heart and your mindset of giving back. I mean, we've talked a little bit about it in the past, and we're the same way. We knew I had some friends that EXP and looked at, again, the income that they were earning is like, I don't need to earn that much income. But if I did, I'd be able to, donate a lot to our charities and into missions and et cetera. I know just the last event that we were just at in San Diego, and pretty much every event, one of the leaders always has a charity that they're supporting, and they normally, share it at the big events. And I think Brent was saying that the EXP's raised like $2 million so far for what is it, Sell a House, Save a Child charity. So it's pretty cool.
We're not. I mean, this is true of all companies, but we're not good at telling our story.
Right.
We're not good at sharing the things that we do. And a lot of people are weird about that. So I teach people how to do this more effectively. And a lot of people are like, oh, I like to give, but I don't like to talk about it. Well, if you do good in a dark room, you only are as good as your bank account. You're only as good as how much money's in your wallet that you're actually willing to pull out and fork over. But if you tell people about it, if you share why you're passionate about it, and you can enlist the help of other people, well, now we can multiply that by a significant level and do a lot more good in the world. And so, I would love to see EXP get better at telling that story of how much good they've done, how much money they've raised, how many houses they built in Mexico. There's a lot of things. This is sometimes we get a bad rap because we like to talk about stock or revenue share or production or whatever.
Right.
But that they go hand in hand. If you don't make a lot of money, you can't give a lot of money away. And if you don't have a lot of people around you that are making a lot of money, you can't really get anything done. And so I would just love to see us all make a more concerted effort to tell those amazing stories about how we change lives. And it's not always building a house in Mexico. Sometimes it's supporting one of our agents who's going through a hardship. Sometimes it's helping an agent find some additional passive income on a monthly basis to be able to get their spouse out of the job they hate. I have a friend who had his husband who was struggling through some mental health issues and just not doing well, just very miserable at his career. And when she was able to make $3,000 a month in recurring income through revenue share, she had the confidence to tell him to quit that job and to come into their business full time. And their life has exponentially changed as a result of that small amount of income. $3,000 a month in residual income literally changed their family's future. Those are the stories I like to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. I haven't told anyone, I haven't told too many people this myself, but we just moved to Florida there 2 weeks after Hurricane Ian, and we got displaced and we had to relocate, rent a U-Haul, move everything into storage. It was just kind of a crazy time. I didn't really work for 6 weeks by the time we kind of got resettled. And my EXP team members kind of knew about it, right? I mean, we didn't have cell phones and stuff for a while, but I didn't share it with the company or anything. And it wasn't, I don't know, too long after, I don't know, maybe not even a month after we got settled in to their new place, I get a notice, an email from EXP sharing that they gave me $1,000 for the troubles to help me with the expenses that I had during a hurricane. I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask anybody, but someone at the company knew that a lot of people in Florida were going through that challenges, had a lot of extra expenses with things. And somebody must have asked, put my name in for to helping out us agents, like you said. And I got $1,000 put in my bank account.
It was a really cool, it was a horrible tragedy, and it did a lot of financial damage, and a lot of people suffered, and a lot of people, people died. It was a horrible situation. But in that, one thing that I saw that was really cool is I saw a lot of people coming together from different brokerages, that were all supporting one another. I saw people, from independent brokerages helping out agents from EXP and KW. I saw KW agents helping out, just the community in general. It was really awesome to see people come together. I actually led an event at the same time, and I brought one of my good friends, Mike Monge, from that community up to speak about the devastation, to speak about what he was experiencing on a daily basis and raise money. And we were able to raise a lot of money for the community to help buy, generators and stuff like that. But I just loved how people were just people at that time, right? Sometimes they get caught up in these silly brokerage wars and all this, the headlines and the, the things that get clicks and all that crap. And at the end of the day, we're all just people, right? You wouldn't ostracize someone because they moved from one side of town to the other. Why do you care where somebody lives or brokers their business or whatever? And I love to see when people can put that stuff aside and just be like, look, as long as you're happy, I'm happy. And if you want more opportunity, let me know, because I might have some for you. And that's really how I approach, EXP is look, if you're a 10 out of 10, stay where you are. But if you're not, maybe you could be.
Right. Yeah, it's awesome. Hey, you want to take a second and welcome some of our listeners on here. Thanks for coming on. If you guys have any questions for John, put them in the chat box. We got Chinky and Robert and Bill, Beth, Ricky. Anybody else have any questions for John? Please put them in the chat box and share the love. So we'll change gears a little bit. Tell us a little bit, about your real estate business itself, John. What kind of with what kind of units and what kind of things that were you doing with your team, prior to EXP, maybe your first year, and how have things evolved in the last 3 years of being here?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. So like I said, I've been in real estate since I was a little kid. I've been on my own for, I don't know, almost 15 years at this point. And I partnered with an agent about 5 years ago, and we do everything together. And so she does a lot of the day-to-day servicing of the business. We actually own our own staging company, so we stage our own listings. That's been a game changer for us. One of the things that I started doing when I came to EXP was I started being more selective about the clients that I work with, and I started putting a higher value on the services we provide. So my mentality with selling houses right now is I would rather work with less people who need my help and can afford to pay what I charge than discount my commission and work with more people. Right? There's two different ways, right? We could do a quantity business or we could do like a quality business. And I want to work that quality business. We're very relational. We do client appreciation or friends and family events, do family portrait day, and, get people out to the park to get family portraits for their Christmas cards with a professional photographer, and host housewarming parties for our buyers, and just all kinds of really awesome things in that regard to really build those relationships. And so by just, it's not like we charge double, but by just charging a little more, we're able to be more selective about who we work with and really give them a lot of time. So on average, we sell anywhere from, $20, $30 million a year, each year, roughly. And that's a really nice pace for us, 2 to 3 houses a month, depending on the month. And we work, I'd say 95% by referral. Right. Of that, I'd say about half is past client referrals and about half is agent to agent referrals. And so we love to be sort of an extension of a relationship that an agent has with a client in another market, help them either sell or buy here and have a smooth transition and make that agent look like a superstar for recommending us.
Yeah, awesome. So let's change gears just a little bit. What were you surprised with after joining EXP? Was there anything that you were just surprised with joining a cloud-based company? What was maybe better than you expected?
Yeah. The first thing I was surprised with is how much stuff there is. There's a deep rabbit hole. I tell people it's really important. EXP is an incredible company. There are roughly 250 people who go on the website and sign up for EXP every single week, and they don't name a sponsor. And I think that's a great tragedy. And my goal is to get that number down to 0 by us telling our stories better so that everyone has a sponsor to take care of them. But even if you didn't have a sponsor, you can have an incredible experience at EXP. The problem I see is there's just too much stuff. And so if you have a great sponsor, your sponsor can help you kind of identify how to plug in, what to plug into, how to prioritize those things, the order of operations you need. So that was my biggest surprise, was like how many trainings there were, how high quality the trainings were because of who teaches them. I didn't understand coming into EXP how important it is to have the Icon program. So the Icon program rewards top producing agents and incentivizes them to give back by teaching classes. That's one of the ways they give back. Right. It also incentivizes them to attend events and plug in and things like that. And having run brokerages, I will tell you that half the time, you can't get somebody to teach a class. You have to bribe them with a free office or something like that, beg them. The only people who want to teach are people who really don't have anything going on. So that's not very effective. And you can only get agents to the office if you have margaritas and tacos. And so it's like, man, this is a tough formula to kind of piece together. But by compensating the top agents and getting them to teach, that everyone wants to be around the top agents. Mm-hmm. And so if the top agents have an incentive that personally rewards them to give back, then that will get better attendance. And then the quality of the information being disseminated is going to be higher and all those other things. And so, Glenn, I say, I like gambling in all forms. One of the ways I like to gamble is horse races. I don't go all the time, but I love horse races. My dad would take me as a kid, whatever. And I'm the kind of guy that bets on the jockey, not the horse.
Right.
And so I am betting on the jockey. And the jockey in this case is Glenn Zanford. That guy by far is the smartest person in real estate. He sees around corners, and I will defend that against anybody who wants to argue. And so I trust Glenn. And Glenn understands how to make this whole thing sing. And I heard him recently at an event, and he said this, and I thought it was awesome. He said, look, there's a lot of competitors out there. Of course there is. We have an innovative model. People want to try and duplicate it, knock it off, et cetera. He said, here's the difference though. They are innovating or ideating. They're copying or modeling off of what we're doing. And that's fine. And yet I know why everything was done the way it was done. He built it on purpose, and he knows why it was built the way it was built. And so because of that, he has a competitive advantage. We have a competitive advantage against everyone else because we understand the why behind the what. And many other companies are just seeing the end product, and they're seeing like an older version of the end product because we're innovating every single day towards a new product that we're going to continue to deliver our agents.
Yeah, that says a lot. And a lot of the copycats, and that's okay. Like you said, I mean, when you see something good, people are going to start copying, but we were obviously the first one to bring it to market. And what I'm most proud of is we have no debt and no long-term debt, no short-term debt. And I think I heard Glenn say we had, 120 million cash in the bank, right?
There's no company that can touch us in the real estate space financially from a brokerage perspective. We don't, Zillow and EXP are two completely different animals. But when you look at publicly traded brokerages, or I would argue even privately owned brokerages, I'd love for them to open those books up and share. I guarantee you there's not a company on the planet that can touch us financially and our positioning. And that's in one of the toughest markets we've ever seen in real estate. When this thing, whatever happens next in the next normal version of the real estate brokerage economy, we are going to sing like nobody's ever seen. So again, like, it's nice to have cash. It's nice to not have debt. It's nice to be profitable. It's nice to have transparency. It's nice to have your books audited every single month by an independent auditor. Like, these things are awesome. I didn't have these things at other brokerages. Right. It mattered.
And it's nice for us agents to actually have ownership in the company.
100%. People are like, oh, you have some stock. I can buy stock. Like, but did you? Did you? Because I didn't. Agents aren't good at investing. They're not good at saving. Like, I love the fact that I have sort of like this little retirement piggy bank that I just like put money aside on, and I don't even think about it. I love the fact that, like, when you're an owner, even if you're a small owner, even if you own 1 share or 10 shares, or you have a small revenue share distribution coming to you every single month, like however you want to look at it, when you're walking out of the building and you see a piece of trash laying next to the trash can, when you're an owner, you pick it up and you put it in the trash can because it's your building.
Right.
When you're just a renter and when you don't care, you just let the trash sit there and you walk out and you let somebody else do it. Right. It's a difference in mentality about how you treat the company you work at when you're an owner. And at many of those other companies, you can be an owner, but it's only for the select few. And it's only, it's a high risk, high liability situation. And, it's just not something that would appeal to me or to most people. But at EXP, we can all have a piece of a really nice pie.
Yeah, and I think the collaboration is like nothing I've seen before. Even like you and I, and we've been able to help each other on other projects and things that we're working on, and we give as much as we possibly give. I got you on a webinar for an hour there a few months back to help me with some social media stuff that you're doing, and you just don't see that at other companies, especially if you're not in my my network above me or below me. There's no incentive for either one of us to help each other, but that's the culture, and because of owners, we all.
It's twofold. One, I have a vested interest. When you succeed, I succeed. We all want to win together, right? And we still have like this underdog chip on our shoulder, right? Like we get so much hate, we get so much flack, and we want to win. And so, like, if I can help anybody win, I want to help them. So that's one reason, is like, I win when you win. Right. But the second piece of it, it's really important, is I'm now in a financial position to be able to give you that time. When I was working in other brokerages, I was just trying to figure out how to sell another house because the economics never worked out properly. I don't know if you've looked at, like, people talk about the Red Book or whatever. Like, go open up a bunch of real estate businesses, books, teams, right? Real estate teams, small teams, big teams, any teams, and look at the profitability and look at the margins and look at what we're talking about. Like, it is really tough to succeed and have leftover time to help people. And when in that model, look, I got to take care of myself. First, I have to make enough money. Then I got to have whatever extra time to take care of myself. And at the end of the day, there just was nothing left. I heard this cool thing the other day. It's like, we're not pouring from our cup. They're like, you can't pour from an empty cup. True. Understood. Like, we're not pouring from an empty cup anymore. We're not pouring. I'm not getting my 3/4 cup full and giving you a little bit. I'm just giving you what spills over. I'm giving you the extra. My cup is dead full. I'm not taking a drop out of my cup, but any that spills over, you can have that for sure. And I got a lot spilling over right now. So I'm more than happy to be generous with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's another big reason why we all can give back to the community with our time and our resources because of that in itself. So very cool. If you could do it all over again, John, would you do anything differently of joining EXP?
It's a great question. I don't know. Maybe. I like the outcome. So yeah, I have an answer. The one thing I would do differently, I had a lot of frustration. I'm a right fighter. I don't like to see injustice. I don't like to see when things are done where I feel like people are being taken advantage of. That really irks me. And I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the brokerages that I worked at over the years. And so I definitely said some things and presented myself in a way that I would take back. I called one of my friends stupid for not listening to me about the opportunity of the EXP. I actually said something a little worse than that. I shouldn't have said that. That wasn't kind. I felt disrespected. I felt like I'd earned that conversation, and obviously I hadn't. But that wasn't fair. That wasn't kind. I said publicly some things sometimes about other brokerages where I felt like I had a stake in it, and I felt like I could, but I probably shouldn't have. That probably wasn't very appropriate. So if I could do it all over again, I would run my race more. I would focus more on what I was doing and the positives that I was focused on, and I would look for the people that were looking for me. If somebody doesn't want to talk to me, like these days, I'm not like that anymore, right? So if somebody doesn't want to talk, then great. It's not good for you. It's not right for you. I'm looking for people that want to talk because there's a lot of people that want to talk. And there's a lot of people that are still curious. And there's a lot of people that haven't even heard of this company yet. And there's a lot of people that are joining without a sponsor. So there's 250 people joining every single week without a sponsor. Why do I need to talk anybody into a good idea? Like,
right.
I'm not here to talk you into a good idea. If it's a good idea, it's a good idea.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, John, with your business?
Dude, it's crazy. I looked back. So this has been a really crazy year for me. So last year, the last couple of years, I've traveled a lot. I got on a lot of airplanes. Is what I wanted to do. I wanted to build an international real estate team. I wanted to be in different cities. I wanted to see different places. My partner Meyer told me the other day, he's like, how cool is it that we can go almost anywhere in the world and we can be picked up at the airport by somebody that we have a personal relationship with, driven around the city, like a local expert tour guide, taken to the best places and just be completely taken care of, because that's what our network looks like now. So that was a beautiful thing. But when I sat back and looked at it at the end of the year, I had missed like 3% of my child's life and like 2% of the others. And I was gone for over a month. And so I said, you know what? I need to focus on family this next year, and I need to take a step back. And so I did. And in doing so, I realized that like pretty much every goal I'd ever set for myself, I had already accomplished or was in very short order going to accomplish. And these are goals that I set 10, 15 years ago. I would meet with a guy. I had left that partnership and he had left a partnership, and we would meet at a Starbucks outside once a week as kind of accountability partners. And we'd talk about like our dreams and our hopes. And one day, wouldn't it be great to travel around the country and speak on stages and like all this stuff that I like never really thought was going to happen. And I looked back and I have these journals. I'd write these things down, right? I believe in writing down your goals and your dreams and manifesting those types of things. And I looked back at what I had written down, and it was like done and done and done and done and done. Like, I don't have a pool in my backyard, but I will soon enough. Other than that, like it's pretty much all checked off. And so what I did is I took some time around my birthday this year, and I've been the whole year, and I've been reflecting on what I really want to do next. Because at this point, I have a ton of opportunity and possibility. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to set out to climb the next mountain because somebody else did. I don't want to go chase somebody else's goals. I don't want to just cross it out and double it. I don't want to just seek something that I think might give me fulfillment or happiness or whatever because I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing other people move in that direction. I need to be aligned with my core values, with my family's goals, with everything that really is important to me in order to figure out that next destination. So where do I see myself in 5 years? I'll have a rev share organization of 5,000 agents. That's one thing I have crystal clarity on because I track those numbers really closely. I will be able to be anywhere I want, do anything I want, and spend essentially anything I want on any given basis. So I look at that as complete, freedom, right?
Right.
The Financial Freedom Forever podcast, like that will be where I will be. I don't think I'll stop working. I love to work. I don't do it in an unhealthy way anymore, but I love to work almost every day. I will be going on a lot of vacations. I coach 3 sports. I'll probably be coaching a lot of youth sports, giving back to the community. I'm still doing things with charities. I recently actually thought about this. I'm building a really unique skill set. So my TikTok handle's right here, and I love my TikTok account. But by doing that, people are sometimes ask me, they're like, are you worried TikTok's going to go away or blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, I'm not worried about anything. All I know is that I'm making a video at least every single day, at least one video every single day. And that's helping me get better on video. And I know that skill set is not going away. That will always benefit me. But I'm also learning a lot about like influence, the algorithm and scale and all these things. And I thought the other day, you know what? I've never said that I'd be interested in this, but maybe I would go into some kind of politics. I believe in like local government. I think that I could use the skill set that I've developed in building what I've built for business, and I could adapt that to local politics. And I think I can make an impact that way. And that might be something that I would explore.
Well, that's awesome that you're following your dreams and being able to check off all these things that you wrote down 5-10 years ago. Do you think a lot of that would have been possible without the EXP business model? Do you think that's has helped a lot?
Yeah, anything is possible anywhere. So before I came to KW, this really nice guy, his name is Brock. He sat down, he went through the whole KW business plan and whatever. And he's like, okay, so you're going to join? And I was like, I can't, man. My stepdad has cancer. He's regional vice president for Coldwell Banker. Like, this is bad timing. And they were really cool about it. And they said, you know what? They said, take this business plan. They gave me a 1-page business plan. They said, take this back to Coldwell Banker and implement it. When you're ready, KW will be here, but like, we understand and implement it. They said it will be harder at KW or at Coldwell than it will at KW because you won't have the same environment or tools or resources, but the business plan will still work in any company. Go do it. And I did, and my business doubled. It actually more than doubled. I went from 4 million in sales to 10 million in sales with that business plan. Nice. And so I would answer that, yes, could I be here? Could I get there? Yeah, I think it's the speed at which you want to get to your destination. We could all make $1 million in real estate. It's just a question of how many years is it going to take you? And so the model, would I be here as fast? Would it be as attractive? Would it look the same way it looks? No. But eventually would I find success? I'm sure I would.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I will tell you, it's been 3.5 years. I'm passionate about revenue share. I coach on it. I encourage agents to participate, even a little or a lot, whatever you want. But in 3.5 years, I've been able to build the equivalent of a $10 million real estate portfolio in what my revenue share represents on a monthly basis. So I have the equivalent cash flow of if I own $10 million in real estate free and clear. I don't know a faster way to accumulate that kind of wealth.
Yeah, that's outstanding, and congratulations. I mean, you are a very passionate, hard worker. I see you, on most of the calls and Zooms that we're on, always contributing and pouring into other people. So I really appreciate all that you do, John, for sure. So yeah, anyone who's on TikTok or not following John yet, please, his handle's right there. Go ahead and start following him. That's probably the best place to reach out to you if they have questions, John, or
if you want to connect with me, I use Instagram for connection. So follow me on Instagram. It's the same handle. So DM me on Instagram. I respond to my DMs. I respond to comments. If you comment on my TikTok, I will respond. If you DM me anywhere, I will most likely respond as long as I see it. I love to talk to people. I love to help people because that's the freedom I have now, is to give back. And I really do. I did not, we hear things, we know them, right? We understand things all the time until like you really understand it. And I'm at a point where I now really, truly understand that old adage of if you help enough people get what they want, you can have whatever you want. And I live my life by that every single day. I don't worry about the outcome anymore. I worry about the impact. I worry about what fuels me is when I wake up and I have 10 comments from people that say things like, I didn't have a mentor in real estate till I found you. This is a stranger. This isn't somebody I know. I'm not a mentor, but I've become their mentor because of what I'm putting out in the world. And so if I'm able to provide mentorship to people that I've never met before, I know I'm doing the right thing. And I know the rest is going to take care of itself. Yeah,
that's really cool. That's really cool. Before we kind of finish up, any last comments or things you'd like to share before we sign off today, John?
I would just love to share. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share some of my story. If you are watching this, if you've watched multiple episodes of this and you haven't reached out yet, reach out, right? Andre's number is right over there, right? You got 518-569-7173. Send him a text message. He's not going to pressure you to join. Just explore it with an open mind. See if it's a fit for you. If you resonate with what I said, if I can help you in any way, reach out to me. We're just two normal guys who want to help people. Nobody's here to sell you on anything, but we love to connect and give back. And if that's at EXP, awesome. And if it's not, we're happy to help you as well. So we don't want to see what I don't want to see. I don't want to see any more agents quit the business right now. I don't want to see any more agents go out of business. I don't want to see, I gave a speech yesterday on Kyle Whistle's morning huddle. And I said, 300,000 people didn't wake up today. And how much time are you, if you're watching this, how much time are you spending thinking about that job you're about to go get instead of doing the things that might keep you in this industry? And by the way, when you get that job, you're going to have to be somewhere 5-6 days a week. You're going to have to work 40 to 60 hours a week. You're going to make $40,000 to $50,000 a year, maybe take home, right? Like it's not going to be good. And you're going to be building someone else's business. So why are you not willing to put forth that type of effort to build your own business? Things are about to get really good in real estate again. They always are. It's a cyclical business. If you can just tough it out a little longer, you're going to make it. So figure out a way to be scrappy, stay in the game, don't quit, reach out to us, find a supportive network, like do whatever it takes, do it. Because this business can change your life in such an amazing way, more so than almost any other career path that I've ever seen. Don't quit.
Yeah, amen to that, John. This industry is it's been life-changing for me. It was always good, but with our model, it's been life-changing. And that's a thread that we talk to other agents and other companies and ask them what they love, and people tell me, hey, they love their brokerage, they love where they're at, and people around them. But I've never once had anyone say that it's been life-changing. But it's a common thread when you talk to people at EXP. So that says a lot. My last question for you before we sign off, I always ask people, if you're a book reader, what's your favorite book you want to recommend? Or if you're a movie watcher, what's your favorite movie you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
My favorite book right now to tell people to read is The 12-Week Year. I really like that. For everyone, I highly encourage them to read The Miracle Morning. There's a lot of power in your morning routine, and the Miracle Morning changed my life significantly at a time that I was really struggling. So if you're struggling, don't just read it, do it. Right. The Miracle Morning will change your life. So those are the two that I would give you right now.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks again, John, for joining us on the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. Well, I'm sure we'll see you at one of our next influencer Zooms, and have a great day.
Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Listen to what our business partners are saying about our FFF group.
Plenty of leaders out there. And this is the kind of group, the Financial Freedom Group, is you're not serving Andre. Andre's serving you, okay? Here's what I mean with this. Perfect example. So I sent out these 50 emails referencing Andre, and I thought, as a courtesy, I'm going to copy Andre on this. So he sees what I'm sending out, right? Just professional courtesy. This was on a Saturday. Sunday morning, before I get up, getting ready, everybody's getting ready for church and everything, I look, and Andre, on his own, of his own volition, personally reached out to all 50 of those people, individual emails, on his own. Well, I didn't ask for it. He did it on his own. That's the kind of support I'm talking about. That's the kind of leadership that I'm talking about. That's the kind of leadership you deserve, everybody deserves, everybody should ask for and expect in any company. We have it in the Financial Freedom Group. So thank you, Andre.
To get your questions answered and learn more about why people are joining EXP by 1,000 people a week and partnering up with us, please go to partnerwithandre.com or click the link below, check out the videos, and let's have a private conversation.